Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell again, and we're continuing on with planning. I know it seems like it's really big planning, but I thought we'd break it up into the levels of planning, where in the last video we went through the different levels of planning in terms of long-term, medium-term and short-term plans. And here we're looking at, because often you can be asked about a planning process, or what are the stages that an organizer and a manager would go through to come up with a plan. So remember that planning is figuring out or setting objectives and then figuring out ways to achieve those objectives. So really, that's the process that we go through, and often you'll see the acronym. We love acronyms in business management to help you understand sort of steps or processes, and the acronym we often use is SATM. So let's go through a planning process. So we have, first of all, the S stands for setting the objective, where we set a goal that the organization wants to achieve. If you think back to the definition of planning, of setting an objective and figuring out ways to achieve it, obviously the first step would be to set the objective. Then A stands for analyse the current situation and future opportunities. That looks at where the organisation is right now, so their strengths and weaknesses, and the opportunities it can take advantage of that will help it achieve its overall objective. And we can conduct a SWOT analysis. So you may have heard of a SWOT analysis before, but S stands for strengths, and then weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So we look at the strengths and weaknesses of the organisation, and often that's things from the internal environment, and then we can look at opportunities that can help us achieve that objective, but also threats that need to be avoided. So that's where a SWOT analysis can come into it. And then D is for develop alternatives, where the manager develops some possible alternatives that can help them achieve the set objective. Those alternatives then need to be looked at, all right, so analysed and figure out which is the most appropriate one. And once we've chosen the most appropriate alternative, we then need to simply implement that alternative. So the next step is to implement the plan. And then finally, you'll find that in most of these processes that in business management, we love to monitor and evaluate. So the last step is to monitor results, which means that we're seeing if, once we've implemented this plan, is it helping us achieve our set objective? If it is, then that's great. And if it isn't, then we may need to make some necessary adjustments. And so that's a 5-step plan that we can go through for what we call a planning process. So just to recap, the planning process, we use the acronym SATM, and you don't have to use that acronym. It could be something different, that's fine. But here's just an example of a planning process where we set the objective, analyse the current situation using a SWOT analysis, develop alternatives, analyse them, choose the best one, and then we implement that alternative, and then we always monitor results. So for activities, questions and more on this topic, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.